News from DC. Finally, they're going to prison. This is huge by Al Waisman for freedomdaily.com. The House Intel Committee passage of New York's Republican Congressman Peter King's motion to release the FISA abuse memo to fellow House members has rocked Washington, D.C. to its very core, and now lawmakers Matt Gaetz from Florida and Lee Zeldin from New York have added to the choir by calling for the classified memo's immediate release to the public. According to Fox News contributor Sarah Carter, the contents of the memo are so explosive and damaging that it could end Special FBI Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia probe once and for all. And people will not only get fired, but they will also go to prison over this. Although we don't fully know what is contained in the original memo, we can now safely predict it has something to do with the manner in which the CIA and DOJ spied on American citizens on American soil, and it has to have something to do with the now entirely discredited work of fiction that is the Trump dossier, how it came about, and who were the people behind it. But at this point, it's a speculation since no member of Congress can give us much more information about its contents without getting into trouble for releasing top secret information. And yet, we all know the answer to this question, right? I mean, I don't know why they're taking their sweet time releasing it, because that means they have to make arrests. Maybe they're too lazy to make arrests? We'll take a listen to this video here again, but The Hill reports GOP reps demand release of shocking surveillance memo. A growing number of Republicans are demanding the release of a classified report that they say reveals political bias. Surprise, surprise, right? At the FBI and Department of Justice in the investigation into possible ties between the Trump campaign and Russian election meddling. Representative Peter King spearheaded the effort this week to allow lawmakers to review a top-secret report compiled by House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes. Scores of Republicans have since viewed the document in a sensitive, compartmented information facility on Capitol Hill. They left expressing shock. So what's your answer there if they're expressing shock? Saying the special counsel investigation into whether Trump's campaign officials had improper contacts with Russia is based on politically motivated actions at the highest level of law enforcement. There's your answer, folks. House Freedom Caucus Chairman Mark Meadows called the memo shocking. I'm here to tell you, all of America tonight, that I'm shocked to read exactly what has taken place. Meadows said in a speech on the House floor, I thought it could never happen in a country that loves freedom and democracy like this country. Not when Hillary's involved and Obama. It is time that we become transparent with all of this, and I'm calling on our leadership to make this available so all Americans can judge for themselves. Meadows and his allies asked GOP leaders in the House to declassify the report as part of his short-term spending bill the House passed late Thursday night. Speaker Paul Ryan said he wanted to follow House rules in the matter and deferred to Nunes and the Intelligence Committee. Yeah, he wants to take his butt out because he's part of the deep state too, although he wants to take his butt out. Nunes could call for a veto to release the report on his panel. If a majority of the committee agrees to declassify the report, the executive branch would then need to sign off to make it public. Said Representative Jim Jordan, another Freedom Caucus member. It's also alarming the American people have to see this, Jordan said. Speculation about the memo and what it might say exploded on social media Thursday night under the hashtag release the documents. Conservative firebrand Sean Hannity kicked off his Thursday night Fox news show with a message directly to Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Your witch hunt is now over, Hannity said. Time to close the doors. Okay. Wow. Representative Lee Zeldin said, the memo contains widespread evidence of FISA abuse. There you have your answer. Representative Ron DeSantis said the report raises serious questions about the upper echelon of the Obama DOJ and Comey FBI as it relates to the so-called collusion investigation. They have also drawn attention to private communications between FBI agents Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, who privately disparaged Trump and other political figures. Strzok had a lead role in the investigation into Clinton's handling of classified material while Secretary of State, and both were on Mueller's team before getting reassigned. GOP lawmakers have also raised the alarm over Bruce Ohr, a senior Justice Department official who appears to have close ties to the opposition research firm that compiled the anti-Trump dossier. Some of the very people we have been talking about will be exposed as the key reason that all Americans need to see this memo. That the CNN, Cuomo was laughing about that memo? Yeah, okay. Representative Matt Gaetz said on Hannity's show, it names names, it says who was involved, with who, how different actors and characters were heard about interacted with one another, about how they interacted with one another. And this is the type of information that we all Americans need to see immediately. This is what happens when the American people are bamboozled into electing a person with a highly questionable past, a man who throughout his life even went by different names, a person who had his college transcripts and even his birth certificate sealed, should have never become president of the United States of America. We don't know, and probably will never know with 100% certainty, who Barack Hussein Obama or Barry Soetoro really was or where he came from, but maybe now everyone will learn of the dangers that come from electing a president based on his skin color and nothing else. I told you, he acts like he's black, like he's a black American, which he is not. He's totally different, and we're going to find that out. We will, because Donald Trump's in office. Had Hillary been elected, we'd still be asleep. But let's take just a quick listen
Journal
here.
Tonight in an editorial. They're demanding the same thing. Congressman Jordan, we deserve to see this. You agree with that? And how soon will we be able to get our eyes on these documents?
Great question, Sean. Here's the process. Chairman Nunes and the Intelligence Committee in the House, he can bring the committee back together. They can have a vote. If a majority of the committee votes to release these documents, the executive branch gets a certain amount of time to review them. If the executive branch gives the thumbs up, they go public. So this could happen real quick. Chairman Nunes is committed to getting this information.
Not one Democrat wanted you to see it.
Well, no, they did it. But I can, after you read it and you see, and if they're playing partisan politics, you can see why they didn't want us to see that, and you can see why they won't want the American people. But as
you notice the Democrats don't want this released. I'm sure you're all well aware of that. That's key. The Democrats, what does that tell you?
As Matt Gaetz said, as Sarah said, this is something that needs to be out to this should never happen in a country as great as the United States of America, and we need every single American take a look at this and see what exactly their government did, their law enforcement division did. This is that kind of information, and it needs to be public as soon as possible.
And also, the poor guy, you know, he's hoarse from speaking so much. You can just imagine what's going on over there, right? How much chaos is taking place at this particular time. But again, I'd like to go back in time. How this happened to America? It's the Bushes that did this. Oh, the Bushes helped put Obama in office. See, we're all pointing the finger at Obama. But you got to go to the main source, the key source. Who allowed this to happen? The Bushes. The Bushes are involved, believe me.
Sounds to me like a lot of people, Congressman Gaetz, need to be fired and investigated.
Yeah, that's right.
And let's start with the Bushes, too.
I think that this will not end just with firings. I believe there are people who will go to jail. I was very persuaded by the evidence, and it also became clear to me why Chuck Grassley and Lindsey Graham felt it so important to refer this matter for criminal prosecution. You don't get to try to undermine our country, undermine our elections, and then simply get fired. So I think there will be criminal implications here. And we have to underscore the point that you and Jim Jordan just made. Every single Democrat on the Intelligence Committee voted against even allowing other members of Congress to see this information. So you know they're going to fight against release to the American people. What are the Democrats so afraid of? Why don't they want the American people to know the truth about what was going on with the government, how that impacted the president, his transition, his campaign? And it just seems interesting to me that Democrats don't want us to know what the entire basis was in the first place for the Mueller probe. They want to drag this out through the midterm elections to try to embarrass this president and distract this Congress from the critical work we've got to do to save this great country. Let's release the documents.
Any details, do you conclude that Mueller, the whole issue of Trump-Russia collusion never should have come up? Does Mueller need to disband? And
absolutely. This was a lie built on corruption, built on a sham. The entire investigation is a fiction. It's a fallacy. And when the American people see how this began, when the American people see how different people interacted with one another, how organizations were infected and infiltrated and subjected to tremendous bias of individuals, and how that really played out, I think that every American will understand how absolutely ludicrous it is that we continue to allow the Mueller probe to go forward. It needs to end because the entire basis is a lie.
I know from my sources, Sarah, that they're saying this should result in the immediate firing of Lisa Page, of Peter Strzok, of Bruce Orr, also Andrew McCabe. I have some questions. Where does Rod Rosenstein stick in this?
In the same scenario. But did you see he said something like Grassley just wanted to fire them?
For criminal prosecution. You don't get to try to undermine our country, undermine our elections, and then simply get fired. So I think there will be criminal implications here. And we have to underscore the Lindsey Graham felt it by the evidence, and it also became clear to me why Chuck Grassley and Lindsey Graham felt it so important to refer this matter for criminal prosecution. You don't get to try to undermine our country, undermine our elections, and then simply get fired. So I think there will be criminal implications.
So Grassley and Graham wanted to prosecute. I misunderstood. I thought maybe he was saying that Grassley and Graham wanted just to fire them. But yeah, you know what? The doo-doo is hitting the fan, folks. Oh yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.